Hey, New Hope. I hope you're having a good Tuesday, and I hope you're not going stir crazy yet, being stuck in your house. I know when I feel particularly restless, I need to refocus on God and His Word, and that's what these daily devotions are all about. Over the course of this week, we're going to talk about storms because we are in a storm of sorts with COVID-19. Yesterday, we talked about Jesus calming the storm in Mark chapter 4. And I'm not going to read the scripture passage today, but if you're not familiar with it, I would strongly encourage you to read Mark 4, verses 35 through 42. And in that passage, the disciples go on a boat ride with Jesus in the Sea of Galilee. And a really bad storm comes up quite suddenly. And it's a dangerous squall, and they start taking on water. And they're really starting to panic. And Jesus is actually asleep in the stern of the boat. And they say, "Master, don't you care that we're all going to drown?" And Jesus wakes up, he calms the storm, and he asks them two really convicting questions. Why are you so afraid? And do you have no faith? And the disciples are shocked that he is able to calm the storm, and they say, "Who is this man that even the wind and waves obey him?" And in yesterday's video, we talked about how in the midst of this COVID-19 storm, we have to remember that Jesus is in the boat with us. He hasn't abandoned us. God is still at work, and he's walking alongside us as well. I wanted to focus, though, on a little bit later in the passage. He asked the disciples two really convicting questions. And I think these are questions that he asked me a lot as well. Why are you so afraid? And do you have no faith? Why are we so afraid? I mean, the reality is that we know we live in a broken world. We know that there are so many things in this world that we cannot control. Now, I would love to think that God would just swoop down and fix this whole COVID-19 mess. And he certainly has the power to do so. And we should pray that God will minimize the damage and will cure people, and that we will find a vaccine and a treatment very soon. But the reality is that God often doesn't work that way. He doesn't work according to our human demands. God is always working, but sometimes the storm that he wants to calm is not the literal storm, but the storm within us. The storm of fear and anxiety and worry and jealousy and bitterness. And I know that if you're like me, there is a storm brewing within you. In John chapter 14, before Jesus ascends into heaven, he says to his disciples that he is leaving them with a gift. And it's the gift of his peace. And it's not the world's peace, because we know the world's peace is temporary and fleeting. But his peace is eternal. And his peace means in the midst of whatever we are dealing with, whatever circumstances we are facing, that we can have that peace that passes all understanding, that only makes sense because we have the presence of the living God within us. Jesus is in the boat with us. And because of that, we can have peace. So my prayer for each of you is that wherever you are, whatever you're facing, whatever your worries are, that Jesus can calm the storm within you this evening.